of Nina Hagen. I know her for 30 years, and said, come on, Nina, let's do a hologram of you. Because we had, at that time, in '86, we had at Holocom one of the first pulse laser portrait systems, which is the only way to do holograms of human beings and animals, living people, because normally this certainly does not work, because as I explained, no chance, vibration and so on, and you've got no chance. A person always moves a little, yeah, and there's always vibration. But this has been solved with portrait pulse laser holography with a trick. In this case, we use huge accumulators. Actually, the Holocom in '86 was in a village close to Hamburg called Karkensdorf. And the whole village had to get a complete new electricity line, the whole village, because of our pulse laser system. It really was quite, it's megawatts. These are huge accumulators like this size, a couple of them in one room. You switch them on, takes like 50 minutes, like woo, so getting louder and louder and higher and so on. It's charging all the time. And then what happens is then you've got a megawatt power in there, but the only chance to do it with a human being is be fast. Be fast enough that they cannot move. So the exposure time is 50 nanoseconds for pulse laser hologram. 50 nanoseconds, but you mentioned a flash. Imagine the flash. And the impression is unbelievable. It always looks like a little bit like zombie because it's so very detailed. So at that time we produced these holograms of Nina Hagen together with her Iroquois boyfriend at that time. This guy had an Iroquois haircut, half a meter, and in the hologram, I can show you some video, I've also got that here. These hairs are coming out like 50 centimeters in front. Yeah, you can touch them like this. Yeah, wow, it's unbelievable. You have to see this. This is also in the masters. The master is so unbelievable. If you illuminate a master with laser light, then you can optically really see the absolute resolution of a hologram. And this means, as I started now, you have a hologram like this here, 30, 40 or something, Nina's head only. You see her, it was made at the regular distance, half a meter or something. Then you see her in a distance here, half a meter. Then you go or get closer, then you see her feet. Then you look like this, you can look behind her in the lab, 8 meters there in the corner, someone is standing. Yeah, this all in a little hologram like this. The hologram uses the principle of storing the whole information across the whole surface. This is something you will probably all know, also know, that holograms can be destroyed and they still keep the whole information of the object. It's quite funny. This is also nowadays in quantum physics a theme, the holographic paradigm, but we might discuss that a bit later on. So, but actually it's to explain that with this storage, partial storage or the whole storage, when you destroy a hologram and cut it into pieces, you have the whole thing, you can see the whole object, but especially only from that angle where the piece of the hologram is coming from. Yeah, not you know, you don't have the complete information from all angles like the whole hologram has, but the object is completely stored in every single piece of the hologram. This is exciting. It's compared also to the universe nowadays and the brain itself, which seems to store memories and information in a similar way. But this is, as I said, maybe it's something for later. Also, I should mention Yuri Denisyuk. He made it possible the first time. This is a typical Denisyuk setup, which is also using white light reflection. This is a reflection hologram, but inline reflection system, but it's also comparable with white light to the, Denisyuk, he was the first guy, actually, and with these other guys here, Stroke and Laborie. They did that. It was the first really white light hologram. So what you do is, when you have the laser master in the beginning, you have to copy the laser master to a different hologram, to a new hologram. And this, if you do it the right way, finally is viewable under white light. So you see, this is really scientific a little bit and lots of work involved, but nowadays it works. So this is Denisyuk. is a Russian. So at that time, this was he started mid of 60s and 70s, around that the white light reflection holograms became available. So another quite important and probably most and well-known type of holograms are embossed holograms. Embossed holograms are, let's say, a low-resolution version of regular holograms. This is what is used on money, on the check cards, on whatever, gifts, I don't know, we did the Kellogg's or Nutella we had in the glasses holograms. This is what I invented. I had the idea to sell those guys holograms, and they liked it, because the children liked it. 10? Ah, okay. Okay. Aber ist kein Problem, wir haben ja noch genug. Okay, so I'd like to explain this a little. Stephen Benton is quite another. I knew him. He unfortunately died quite early in 2003. He's been a professor at the MIT, also one of the pioneers of holography, and he invented the so-called rainbow or Benton hologram. This made it possible to mass-produce holograms, to emboss holograms. That's what the name is coming from. I'll explain that a little bit later. And we probably have some more time, this is what I heard, because in this room there's no additional program after it. And you might probably have some additional questions. This is my regular experience. So, Benton invented, he's using a slit on the table when copying this hologram, and then reducing, you cut the vertical parallax of the hologram. So embossed holograms have a viewing angle left to right, or on the horizontal axis, but no up-down. Quite different to this one. This is a volume hologram, but I'll explain that also later. This is the latest technology. So, in general, embossed holographic technologies might also be interesting for you guys, on girls and boys who might be interested in the production. We do this by using a so-called photoresist emulsion. This is a different emulsion for recording the exposure. Photoresist is also similar like a normal holographic emulsion, but it allows us to finally silver the surface of the hologram. We expose it, we develop it, bleach and fix it, and then we go in the lab and take a silver spray and put a silver layer on, and then we put it inside of an electroforming tank, is what we call that. It's a galvanic baths, quite similar to CD galvanic production, but with a times 10 higher resolution in holography. We produce a so-called master shim or grandma, and then we pull the mother, which is negative again, because it's always positive, negative, always turning when you put it inside of the electric forming bath. And finally doing this, the daughters. And the daughters can be used for production. They are destroyed after a while because you work with very high pressure and heat. So you have to reproduce the daughters to be able to really mass produce. That's the way to go through galvanic baths to produce embossing shims, we call it. This is, imagine like, if we can show you, like printing plates. In regular print, these are printing plates. And then we press, with these shims, we press these holographic information, which is on the surface of the shim. We press it with high pressure and heat in a very thin, approximately 3 micron thick layer of a lacquer, which is on a 50 micron PET. This is here, embossed holograms. All here. It's always regularly stickers are 50 micron PET film, OPP, BOPP. Then there's a 3 micron layer, which is the lacquer. Only this 3 micron keeps the whole holographic information of the hologram. Behind that there's another little, even thinner layer of some aluminium molecules which reflect the light. Yeah, the incoming light is reflected by aluminium. And then this is a transmission hologram, actually, every hologram, a bus hologram. It's a transmission hologram. So, oops, okay. Hello? 5. Oh, auch gut. Kann das auch noch schneller? Okay, so here we are. This is probably for you guys, and ladies and gentlemen, I say, interesting, because this is a holographic embossing machine, a so-called narrow web embosser, built by us in the 90s. We built these machines in the beginning. It's all special machinery. You could not buy them somewhere in a shop. So we built them ourselves. And then we sold them also worldwide. On the right, it's a holographic narrow web embossing machine. This is a so-called labeling machine, which, you know, can put self-adhesive liner on the backside, kiss cut, whatever, cut it into sheets and so on. Just for label, working like regular printing industry. This is a plastic card machine, might also be interesting for some of you, doing hot stamped holograms on plastic cards. And so this is here explained also on the website. Process. This I explained already. Master tables. Okay, exposure times depend on the emulsions, of course, the power and stability of the laser and the size of the hologram. It's quite just mathematically you can calculate that. Normally they range between some seconds and a few minutes, except pulse portrait laser, as I explained earlier already, this 50 nanoseconds. So, yeah, it's also only viewable on a laser light, unless it is copied into white light. This happens at the end. So compared, H1 hologram, the first one, the laser transmission master, has a resolution of, we have here, between 20 to 80 nanometer or 15,000 or larger than 50,000 lines per millimeter. The copy at the end of an embossed hologram, this here, all these silver embossed holograms, have a very low resolution of only 1,500 lines per millimeter. This is low resolution in holography. So, here is a brief glossary of basic and related issues. If you have additional questions, of course, I'll be glad to answer those. And thanks to all who helped, and Wetterfrosch, who did his first 3D card. Here are some basics I'd like to explain again. H1 is the laser transmission master, classical transmission hologram made on mastering table. Dennis Yook or reflection holograms are white light copies of the H1 to be able to view them under white light circumstances. Principle here, rainbow Benton hologram, embossed holograms, dot matrix origination. This is a special origination type. We are using computers to do that, to expose embossed holograms on photoresist. Here, most of those ones, it's this here, like this little dot holograms, or here, flower of life and so on. This is all dot matrix origination. This is a photograph of a machine, of a typical dot matrix origination machine. Imagine here is a computer, blah, blah, blah. Here's the graphic. And then here is XY table. Moving the laser, yeah, over the plate. And then exposing the little dots. This is for embossed holograms. Absolutely different to this type, because this is something like state-of-the-art holography. This hologram is completely computer-generated. And I'd also like to show you some additional movies about that, maybe for the end. Because this is absolutely virtual object. It's generated in 3D Studio Max. And finally, after that, we transform that by calculating, it's quite complicated, calculating little holographic pixels. This is, when you go close to it, you will discover relatively huge pixels. They are between 0.5, 0.8 millimeters, or on large sizes, 1.6 millimeters, each pixel. But it contains up to 1,280 frames, each pixel. So they are made out of little pixels, which contain the complete 3D information and millions of pixels inside of such a big hologram. So it takes time to expose this kind of holograms. And as you can see, absolutely true color, absolutely